We'll, we will go ahead and get started. So welcome back. Happy July to everybody. We thank you all for joining us today. So I want to welcome you on behalf of IT Solutions. I'd like you to welcome to today's training event on ChatGPT, one of our favorite subjects here and our trainers' favorite subjects because it's always ever changing, it seems, always learning a lot there. So we're always excited about that. So we're always looking for ways to bring value to our local businesses. And I think this is again another training that we'll take care of that. We try to succeed in bringing fresh and new training possibilities here. So I think you'll like that. IT Solutions is an information technology and managed security provider all over the country now. So I think we're in 7 states. And also for anyone who has questions today, please use the Q&A button in Zoom to bring up the dialog box where you can enter your question. We'll try to get to as many questions as possible during the allotted time. If not, our trainer will always stick around and answer any additional questions we have at the end. So my name is Jason Cook, and I am the client services specialist here. I work in some marketing and do training on we have a customer portal that I kind of manage and train on. So it's exciting. So we now hold our regular monthly events and would like to get your feedback for any future ideas or topics, excuse me. And we really appreciate it. Some of you have actually given us some information for some ideas, so I appreciate that. Feel free to email me at jec@nextra.com for any suggestions, and we'll try to get to all those. So without any further ado, I'd like to introduce everyone to JoLynn Rihn, trainer and all-around person of awesomeness. I love her; she's great. Who will be leading our learning journey today. JoLynn has been teaching Microsoft apps since they were first released. She's a certified trainer and Microsoft Master Instructor with over 30 years experience. She teaches the basics to advanced features using programs like we've done here, Teams, SharePoint, Outlook, ChatGPT, Excel, pretty much everything. So JoLynn, please take us from here.
Sounds good. Thank you so much, Jason. So welcome everybody to our session today on what's new with ChatGPT. So as Jason was just saying, I'm a Microsoft Master Instructor. I work a lot with the Microsoft apps, but I also work with a lot of other apps, of course, that are technology related or related to business in general. And that's what leads us here to ChatGPT today. So if you're not familiar with exactly what ChatGPT is, it's an application that you can use online. And this is an example of what the user interface looks like. But it is an AI application that we can use to not only just chat with, hence its name ChatGPT. We can ask it questions, but it can also do a lot more than that these days. It is something that I personally can't live without, and I've been talking to Jason about that for the past few months, encouraging him to use ChatGPT as well. There's probably not a day that I go by that I'm not using ChatGPT in some way, shape, or form. And I talk about it to people, even at a restaurant the other day. Somebody was trying to figure out how to say something or whatever, and I said, you should use ChatGPT to do that. So it's a large language model that has been trained to really take the information that we're providing it and further be able to analyze it. We're going to see examples today of some enhanced features that have recently been provided within ChatGPT, and I'll get you up to date on where we are with the current versions and what we have coming in the future. So with that all being said, the first thing that I wanted to talk about was how do you access ChatGPT? Well, we used to go, so it's changed a little bit. We used to go to the web address of chat.openai.com. You'll notice on my screen right now, the new web address. If you look at my address bar at the top, we actually just go straight to chatgpt.com. I've had a lot of people ask me why all of a sudden do we get the domain for ChatGPT? Somebody else could have owned it and they had to purchase it. I'm not really sure what the story is behind that, but just know we now go to a new website. So these are things that have happened over the past not even a couple of months. Some of the features we'll talk about today are relatively new in the past couple of weeks. So that's going to be the first thing that you're going to see that is new. How do we access it? There's a different web address that we're technically going to. So just so you know, that's where we go. So when it comes to the user interface and the enhancements, once you come in, you can have a free version of ChatGPT. So if you're not already on ChatGPT, you can sign up for a free account. When you access this website, if it doesn't know you, you can log in if you have an account. But if you don't, just set up an account and you can use the free version. I'll get into what different versions there are, but it's really just a matter of putting in your credentials how you normally do with anything else. So you can start using ChatGPT right away. There are limited capabilities with the free version. There's more capabilities with the paid for version, which is in all essence called the Plus. It's a subscription. So like I personally pay $20 a month for the subscription to use ChatGPT. Is that going to change in the future? Well, it's already starting to change. So the answer is probably yes. Do I know that for a fact? Not 100% just yet, but things are definitely moving in a different direction with ChatGPT. I'll explain as we go. So let me just do a quick rundown of what is different in the user interface. So if you've been using it in the past, what do you need to be aware of now and kind of what has changed? So the menu bar on the left-hand side has been revised. We no longer access our account information at the bottom left where we used to go to activate or modify different settings. I'll show you where that has been moved to. But the other things that I want you to be aware of on the left-hand side, it is still giving you the history. So whatever you have done previously in ChatGPT, you're going to see those listed on the left-hand side. That part has not changed. But at the top of the window, that has changed. There is an icon to close the sidebar. So if you don't want it taking up space on your screen because you're not using it, you can close it. I do that when I'm on different devices because I don't want it taking up space if I have a smaller screen. And by the way, ChatGPT is available on a mobile device. You can use it with any internet connection. So there are mobile apps available. Otherwise, any internet connection. But also at the top, you're going to see the new chat icon. They're trying to simplify the user interface, similar to what Microsoft did a few years back. I think ChatGPT kind of had that same concept. Here's all these great features and we want them right at your fingertips. But then they decided that it was too cluttered. We really didn't need to have all of those things right on the menu. So they've kind of simplified the way that the user interface actually looks. And I really like it. It's so much cleaner and easier to find things. So at the top left, you can click new chat instead of having it as a big command at the top of the window. So just an easier option. And then also you're going to see on the left-hand side where it says ChatGPT and it says explore GPTs. I'm going to come back and talk about what all that means here in just a minute. In the middle of the window, you'll still see suggested prompts. So a big part of using ChatGPT or Copilot and other applications for AI is really prompting. You have to have good prompts to be able to get good results out of what it is that you're asking of ChatGPT. So we're still seeing suggested prompts in the middle. These prompts do change. So it really kind of, which is kind of scary to think of, but it actually knows what you're prompting, what you're doing, and it will start to generate prompts that are more related to your activity, which I'll show you how those settings are used here in a second. So the middle of the window is where we go to actually do our chatting. We'll see the history of the chats, just like you do in Microsoft Teams. If you're doing chatting, it works that same way. But what is going to be different is at the top left of the middle part of the window. Mine currently says ChatGPT 4.0. O stands for Omni, And I'll get to what all that means here in just a second, but that is actually a menu. When you click on the drop down menu, you can choose which version of ChatGPT you want it to use as you are searching for information. So I'll show you some examples of that, and I'll also talk about what this temporary chat is. So I'll come back and get a little bit more detail of that. So I'll talk about how to use the chat, different options for doing chatting. But at the top right is where your settings went. It's more consistent with other applications. I think it was just a smart thing for ChatGPT to do. So at the top right, instead of at the bottom left, it's going to have your settings. It's going to have your profile information. Also, depending on what you're using, if you have multiple accounts, which I will describe what all that means here in a minute. You can see I have this virtual training and I have personal account. I am actively in my personal account right now, just so you're aware of that. But I could access my plan. So if I go into my plan, it's going to show you that I have the paid subscription. If my plan was a free one, it would show me that I could upgrade to the plus version, which is going to give you better features, which I'll kind of show you and talk about because I have this laid out in your handout as well. But you can use the free version or you can pay for the plus version, which one of the huge benefits is it's more current. When ChatGPT was released to the public, the information was from 2022. We are now able to access information as old as December of 2023. And depending on what you're doing and what you're chatting about, it can be as current as today. Just so you keep that in the back of your mind. Some information may not be current. Now we'll get to some examples of chatting and kind of talk a little bit more about how do I know if it's new information, updated information, or old information. But you can see based on this current plan that I have early access to new features. So because I'm paying for this subscription, which I highly recommend, you'll have access to the new features. Access to ChatGPT 4, 4.0, and 3.5, but the version of 5 will be available here by the end of the year. Access to advanced data analysis, file uploads, vision, and web browsing is also available within the paid for subscription. And the DALL-E, I should say, image generation is automatically included. We don't have to worry about having a GPT added in to be able to utilize the tools that we have for generating or modifying an image, which I'll demonstrate for you, of course, today. Create and use GPTs. In the older versions of ChatGPT, we didn't use GPTs, but I'll get to what those are and how they can benefit you with using the new version of ChatGPT. So just so you can see, it's a good idea to have the paid for version because you're going to get extra things. It also is going to give you access to not only the latest versions, but it's also going to give you more chatting capability. Otherwise, you are limited to only so many chats per day. I could go on and on about differences, but the paid for version is highly recommended. But notice at the top, I have business. Business is referring to the enterprise. So if you're a company and you're going to have 50 people that want to use ChatGPT at work, you can do the enterprise version. You do need to contact them to get pricing. So you could contact them, tell them how many users your organization needs, etc. Then they will give you the pricing. Otherwise, there is also now available this feature called Team Workspace. I do happen to have a team workspace. I only have one, which allows me 2 people to access this workspace. So if you think about what a workspace is, it's a place where you and one other or more others, depending on your plan that you buy, you would be able to collaborate together within your own workspace within ChatGPT. I will briefly demonstrate that for you here today. So different options are available for your plan, depending on how much information you're going to be needing to use with ChatGPT. What kind of features do you need to get out of it? I'm going to go ahead and close that. I want to jump back up to the top right again because there are some great features that you need to be aware of to really take full advantage of using, especially these newer features in ChatGPT. So as you look down, there's this customize ChatGPT. When you come into this area, they have these instructions that you can be providing to ChatGPT. This is not technically new. They just changed the name of it, but the way that it works is stronger than it was in the past. So if you knew about this feature before, we still have it, but the enhancements to it are that it understands you as a user better, and the information that it provides back is more accurate. So what you want to do is where it says, what would you like ChatGPT to know about you to provide better responses? It gives you some thought starters over on the right, but you should customize this for yourself so that as you are chatting with ChatGPT, it understands more information about you and it will respond based on the information you enter here. Also under the how would you like ChatGPT to respond? I have professional level, so I want it to respond to me in a more professional level. But if you want that to be a different way, and you can see these thought starters over on the right, you can put a lot of information in here. I just threw some generic stuff in here, not sharing my own personal things, but just so you could see that. So these are things that are going to help your experience with using ChatGPT. The abilities down at the bottom, I have these checked, and this is where the enhancements come into play and some newer features with ChatGPT. Browsing is referring to browsing the internet, where we can have current information coming into ChatGPT. So make sure that that is checked. Also, the Dolly, that should be checked by default as the code as well, but make sure that these are checked because of the fact that if we do not have them checked, you're not going to take advantage of those. So this Dolly is actually Dolly 3 technically is referring to working with images. I'll show you a little bit more on that here in a second, but make sure that things are checked so that you can take full advantage of the new features within ChatGPT. I'm going to go ahead and click cancel because I'm really not going to make any changes to that right at this moment. But back up at the top right again, just so you're understanding where some things are located at. If you go to the settings, this is another area that you should definitely spend a minute or two in just to make sure you understand what's here and what you may want to change. But you can change to a different theme based on your system settings, your Windows settings. Also, always show code is an option if you are a data analyst and you want to have code being displayed all the time based on what it is that you're asking it. You definitely can do that. Language, it's going to automatically detect it. But yes, ChatGPT still will translate from one language to another. And it is extremely accurate. I've had people that speak Spanish. My nephew's wife is Spanish and he speaks fluent. And I've had them look over the translation to verify that, yes, that's exactly the way that it works. I've had people that are French speaking check that for me. I've had a lot of tests being done because I do work with a lot of people that do speak different languages. So it was important to me to make sure that ChatGPT really was accurate. So yes, it still does that. But when it comes to your history of your chats, you can archive those now. This is actually a new feature. So if I click on that, I can actually see that it can archive my chats so that if I need to get back to them, just like you archive emails and stuff, you can actually have an archive of your chats. You can archive all chats by choosing the archive all. Otherwise, you can archive just specific chats if you want to. You can also manage your deleting of all your chats. So if you want to get rid of all the history, just choose delete all and that will do it for you. There's personalization options available. By the way, it has memory built into it. And the memory has become more enhanced over the past couple of months. So ChatGPT, as you can see, it says, will become more helpful as you chat, picking up on details and preferences. So it automatically is paying attention to what it is that you're chatting about, and it keeps it in its memory so that it can work better with you. And based on that information and that customization you enter as well. I think it's pretty cool. Also, there's speech capabilities. There's voices. This is so cool. You could actually pick a different voice to use. So right now I have Cove. So there's different voices that you can use, and it will play the voice, and you can see which voice it is that you want to use to be talking with ChatGPT. This is a feature that is in the process of being released to all users. I currently only have it on my phone. I do not have the voice capabilities on my online version. I only have it on my mobile device, where we can have, okay, so they're copying Siri, just so you know, it's like a Siri feature where we'll be able to talk directly into ChatGPT and it will respond. So the voice capabilities is one of the major enhancements. As a matter of fact, I know that there was actually a demonstration that they were doing at a big convention, and some things went terribly wrong during it. So they had to make some adjustments to it right away. So I think there was a little bit of a delay because of some things that happened when they were starting to release it, that it is currently something that is really only being used on mobile. But I think by the fourth quarter, they're supposed to be having that available. Love the future of what ChatGPT is going to have for us. More changes coming by the end of the year, as I'll talk about at the end. But the data control, you can manage any links that you share, because physically we can actually go to a chat that we did and share a link to that chat with somebody else. That became such a popular feature that people were sharing links to their chat so that other people could see what the result was, that they gave us the team workspace. So the team workspace is a place where it automatically is sharing with a coworker or multiple coworkers. So if you need to be constantly sharing what you're chatting about with somebody else, your better choice would be to use the team workspace. But you can export your data. As you can see, there's a profile builder where you can be connecting to different social media platforms. There's also connected applications, which I personally have my Microsoft OneDrive connected, and you're going to see why I have it connected in a second. I don't have a Google Drive or a personal OneDrive connected because I use this for mainly business purposes. So my Microsoft account is connected. So I'll show you why I have that connected and how that all works. So just so you know, in your handout, it's going to give you more details as to what is the latest versions of ChatGPT. So the latest one as of today is actually ChatGPT 4.0. The O stands for Omni. So when it comes to the Omni version has definitely been enhanced. The Omni version has made improvements on several different areas. The creativity, the file upload capabilities, and the speed. You're going to see, if you look these up, the speed is huge compared to, especially when we first started with 3.0, and then 3.5, and then 4, and now 4 Omni. It's amazing the difference in speed. Now, some of the speed comparisons are going to be 20 seconds versus 17 seconds. It may not sound like a lot, but it is when you're waiting for a response. So the response timing is definitely enhancing with every new version. The memory capabilities have been enhanced also with the 4.0, the Omni version. It supports more languages. It has more features available as far as the image processing, and the image capabilities is much faster and more accurate as well. And it's more lifelike than some of these, which I don't know if you've seen AI generated images before, but it seems like everybody's doing them and they're using them in social media and different things. And I got to tell you, it's getting better and better on its capabilities when it comes to using those. But the big thing about 4.0 is it's actually free. So you can use the 4.0 in the free version. You're not going to get the full capabilities of the free side, because free means that you can't do as many chats every day. So you have the paid version and you get 4.0 so that you can access it all the time. Also, I've had with my free version, even if I was using 4.0, it will tell me that I can't access it right now because there's too many people out there. With the paid for version, you'll never run into an issue like that. So do recommend the enhanced updated version of 4.0. But there's going to be a 5.0 coming eventually. So I've already mentioned the plus version is the paid for subscription. There's an enterprise version coming by the end of the year. They're predicting that ChatGPT 5 will be available. I won't go through all the enhancements of that. I did give you a little bit of information about that in your handout if you want to read a little bit more. Okay. So some of the things that have been majorly changed when it comes to using ChatGPT in all regards, there is this feature that is now built into the 4.0 version where it works with image prompts better. It has the voice prompt capability and it has AI generated voices, which I showed you in the settings where you can change. It's like changing your navigation to a different voice. We can do that now with ChatGPT. These are the enhancements that are major features that are going to be here and be taken advantage of for the rest of the life of ChatGPT. These are things that people have been asking for, and they have now released these. So we have these model options that we can be using, this multi-model options that we have available. These are the major enhancements with AI in general. And it has to do with the way that it structures the information in the background. So when we talk about this being a large language model, that's referring to it has all this information that when we ask it something, it goes to this large language model to process it. The way that it processes it now is very different from how it started. Of course, as they learn more about how it works and they figure new things out, of course it will continue to be enhanced. So when it comes to doing research, when it comes to doing any brainstorming, you want ChatGPT to help you translate information or help you write a new document for whatever reason. You want to look up flight information or hotel information. ChatGPT is going to be your helpful guide to be able to do all of that. And with the new enhancements, it's more accurate than it's ever been in the past because the information has been updated. So when they first trained it, it was old information. Now it's caught up. They have more people doing it and they're using information that we're generating ourselves. So it is more updated information. But I want to demonstrate some examples of how all this works. So when it comes to using Turbo, which is the ChatGPT 4 versus 4.0 with the latest version, how are they different and why would I use one over the other? I have been strictly using the latest version because of all of the research that I've done on it and how it's processing the information. It is twice as fast as the 4.0, or I should say 4 version that we previously had. So the way that it's processing things, especially with images and the support that it has for video, voice, text, and images and other applications, it just to me is something that I'm going to stick with. So when we talk about in the chat window itself, should you use 4.0? Should you use 4? Should you use 3.5? I would say stay with the newest and the most advanced model, which is your 4.0. There really isn't a reason to drop back to an older version. But you're going to see from this drop down that there is an enhanced feature. I should say new feature, not enhanced. It's brand new, and it's called temporary chat. So typically when you chat with the system, like as an example, if I go over to a historical chat, here is a chat that I previously did, and just kind of show you all the way at the top. What is the best way to welcome a new customer is what I originally had asked. We can always go back to the historical information about that chat. But what if I don't need to? What if I don't want to save what I'm chatting about? Then I have to go back and delete it. We don't have to save it anymore. But just so you know, if you do have information that you have as historical information, you can go to the left-hand side and just click on whatever it is you were chatting about previously. We've always been able to do that. But the menu for managing these historical chats has changed. So if you go to a chat, go to the menu on the right of the left-hand side of the screen, go to that menu, you're going to see a dot, dot, dot. Click that options. Your menu has changed. You don't see the icons anymore. You click on the menu to get to the icons because they're simplifying the user interface. If you wanted to share this chat, that's where you go to get the link. Then you can share the link. And then whoever you share it with will have access to this history of this chat. Also, you could rename it because it gives a name by default based on what it is you're chatting about. You can archive it, which is that brand new feature I mentioned a minute ago. And then you also still have your delete option. Well, if I don't want to have to worry about going back and deleting it, I want to do some chatting, but I don't need to save it. I don't need to have it as historical information. If you go to the drop down for your versions for ChatGPT, down at the bottom, you can choose to have it be a temporary chat. I didn't know if I would ever use this, but I got to tell you, I really like it because otherwise I was going to the left and having to delete it. So right now you can see that it even tells me it's a temporary chat. The chat won't appear in the history, use or create memories, or it won't be used to train other models. So for safety purposes, we may keep a copy for 30 days. That's what ChatGPT does in the background anyway. But just so you know, if you want to chat with ChatGPT, you can. So let's actually say that I need to find a hotel in Seattle, Washington for September 7th to the 11th on the coast. We can have ChatGPT look for anything that we needed to find. And just so you know, it's actually going to be accurate information. You can see that it automatically is telling me there's 3 hotels in Seattle that offer coastal views and amenities. I could have given it more information. I needed to be a suite. I needed to have a microwave. I need a refrigerator. I needed to be handicapped accessible. Whatever your case would be, ChatGPT is gathering the most current information. Now, how is it gathering current information? Well, back when I was in those settings, remember I had that check mark for the web. So it's actually searching the web. If I want further information about it, I could continue my conversation. But notice down at the bottom, we actually do have new icons. They've simplified these. I can have it read this out loud to me. I also can copy it. I can have it regenerate the responses, and you can see that I could change the model that it's using. If I wanted to use the ChatGPT 4 turbo version, I could do that as well, just so you could see what your choices are down there. But I'm just going to leave this. I'm not going to use this anymore. So if I go back and I turn off temporary chat, I won't have access to that chat anymore. So that's something that I definitely think that you should take advantage of. So if you know you don't need to keep it, use that feature instead. The enhancements, I gave you quite a few examples of enhancements that we have with the 4.0 version. Starting on page 8, going to page 9, a few different examples. Like if I needed to write a specific blog, an example of that, if I do it in ChatGPT 4 versus ChatGPT I'm going to get a different response depending on which one I actually do. So as an example, right now I'm in 4, and if I go to chat with it, I'm going to type in, write a 1,000 word blog post on the benefits of remote work and the productivity levels, those kind of things. It's actually utilizing the internet, the web, to actually find current information. It's going to come back with this information. So this is everything that it's coming back with: the work life balance, increased family time, blah, blah, blah. It's got all this information that it's actually generating. Now, of course, I could share a link of this to somebody else, but what if we're going to be working on things to kind of do a presentation that's going to be related to working from home or having hybrid situations, and we're going to be doing it to a group of executives? I could actually be utilizing a team workspace. So at the bottom left, if you go and share a bunch of different chat links with somebody else, you want to stop and think, should I really be creating a workspace where we can collaborate together automatically without having to keep sharing the links? It's going to be a time saver, especially if you have a couple of people that you work with regularly, that you're doing brainstorming or you're working on a brand new project or something. I use this a lot for different projects that I work on. Sometimes I'm invited to somebody else's workspace, but I have one workspace that I can show you today. If I go back up to my profile at the top left, I'm going to click on virtual training company. This is a workspace that I just built that I would be able to come in and collaborate with another user. At the bottom left of the screen, you can see I can invite members. So I actively can invite as many people as I need, but my license that I'm personally paying is only for 2 people. So I already have a person that I shared this with, but we would be able to collaborate together in our own workspace area. Instead of having to, I have my copy, they have their copy, we're not sharing anything unless we do the share link, then we just copy it and paste it wherever we need to paste it via email, in a chat, whatever. Here, everything that we can do is together. So they see it, we see it, we're collaborating on everything together. And what I really like about this as well, we won't get into a lot of detail on this today because it's a little bit more advanced, but on the left-hand side, where it says explore GPTs. So these are generated prompt transformers that we can actually add. These are like little apps, just for simplicity purposes. These are like saying, I need to enhance this capability in ChatGPT. So I want to add this on. It's like going to your app store and adding another app. We can add in these GPTs to have available and use them while we're chatting. And I can have ones here in my workspace. I can have some back in my personal account. So personal account doesn't mean just a generic user type thing. It's my paid for account, but it's not like business versus personal when you talk about Microsoft 365. But as you can see, there's different categories at the top. If there's something specific you're looking for, you can just search for it. Otherwise, as you scroll down, you're going to see here's some more image generating options that we have, logo creator. ChatGPT, of course, by itself, because of the features that I have with the new version, it is very good at creating a logo. But if I want to use this GPT to help me create a logo, I can add it in. So here's a couple other ones, data analysis tools, ChatGPT Classic. We have that DALL-E 3 is already enhanced in the system, so I wouldn't add that in. But if you didn't have it, you could add it in. There's writing options that are available, and these are being added to on a regular basis. There's research and analysis options, programming, educational features. I need the math solver. That could help me a lot. I rely on Excel way too much. Lifestyle options, and there's even more that I can go into, but just so you could see, these would be additional tools that you could be utilizing through ChatGPT. And they have become very enhanced with the newest models that we are using of ChatGPT. So just to give you an idea, I'm going to come into Write For Me. So it tells me a little bit of information about it. It's got a rating right now of 4.2. I always do look at that. I look at how many conversations have been used with this writing, and it gives you some information. So it says, write me 100-word analysis of the future of ChatGPT. These are some conversation starters, so prompts that we could use to get started on utilizing this tool. I always look at the ratings, but if I want to start chatting and using this tool to be writing, all I have to do is choose it. So right now you can see that I'm in this Write For Me GPT to help me even further beyond what ChatGPT's capabilities are. So this is like an added app that I can be using. So if I come down to the bottom and I put in that write a 1,000-word blog post to benefit blah, 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 it will utilize that GPT to help generate the response. To me, this is absolutely fantastic. If there is a GPT that can help you specifically with what it is that you're chatting about, it's not going to be as generalized as what ChatGPT may respond. So as you can see, it's giving you the information, life-work balance. Some of these may be similar to each other, but if I did a side-by-side comparison, it probably wouldn't be. But here's my conclusion, etc. So GPTs are a great way to be able to enhance the capabilities of the topic, depending on the topic that you're doing in ChatGPT. So this has definitely been enhanced. It's not a brand new. It used to have a different name. It wasn't called GPTs. They were called plugins back in the old version of ChatGPT. They used to be called a plugin. They're not plugins now, they're GPTs. But they have some similarities to them in the fact that they are an add-in. So at the top of this chat window, it says Write For Me. If I click on that drop down, if I don't want to use that anymore, I can hide it from the sidebar, and I don't need to have that available for me anymore. I don't need to keep it. I can keep it on the sidebar or I can hide it. I'm going to keep it here for right now because it will stay there as I toggle back and forth in between my personal account and this workspace. So the benefit of a workspace is you can work with other people, and you chat, they chat, everybody can chat together. Everything is shared. Love that capability. I got to tell you, it has worked fantastic for a couple of projects that I've been using it for. But I'm going to go back to the top right and go back to my personal account because I want to really kind of show off some features that have been enhanced from previous versions of ChatGPT. So if I look at some of my history on this left-hand side, I've got some older information that I was actually chatting about. I actually had this chat about pivot tables. I've done a new chat with pivot tables, and I got a different response than what I did in an older version of ChatGPT. So to be honest, I don't like keeping my historical information that was from the older version. I usually regenerate it if I need it now because the information that I'm getting now is more accurate. And it even tells you down at the very bottom, very simply, used to be a big kind of disclaimer at the bottom. Now it just simply says, ChatGPT can make mistakes. Check information. You want to always verify the information regardless. So let me kind of show you some enhancements to the new features when it comes to doing different types of analysis with data. So, of course, I could do things like I did where I could say, write 1,000-page whatever on this information. But what if I start a new chat? So I'm going to go to the top left, start a new chat, and I want to actually upload a file. Because I'm connected now directly to my Microsoft account, you can see that I can add a file directly from my OneDrive or actually SharePoint as well. Microsoft Teams, SharePoint, OneDrive. We didn't have that capability before. It was very clumsy on how that actually worked. So make sure you go to the settings and you connect your account. So if I click add from Microsoft OneDrive or SharePoint, you're going to see on the left-hand side, I've got all these SharePoint sites. I've got these teams. So if I go into this accounting department, I can go into my accounts payable. This is my document library coming from my Microsoft Team channel. I mean, it's crazy how quick and easy we can get into this information. Just so you could see I have that. I'm actually going to open up this Word class typing file, just because it's right here. I'm going to click select. So I want ChatGPT to be able to analyze that file. Could it do that before? Yes, but not with the capabilities that it has today. It's easier to get the file added, and now it's just an attachment right here. And all I have to do is ask it questions about it, and it generates it just like that. In the past, it took sometimes 2 minutes to analyze the information within a file. So if I wanted to write a brief description, oops, sorry, write a brief description. Oops, I can't type today, sorry. Brief description of the attached file. We can ask it information about the file, but look how fast it actually just responded. In the past, I would have been waiting for the system first to go and analyze the file. Then it would have come back and said, okay, I've analyzed the file. What questions do you have? This just did that in about 2 seconds. It is unbelievable how quick it is. As a matter of fact, I've done it with files, Word documents that are 200 pages, and it was that quick on giving me a summary of what was in it. So to me, that is a fantastic way to say, okay, we have this new policy that we're going to be giving to all of our employees. And we need a way to describe what this policy is so that when we tell people, I just let ChatGPT do it. They're going to analyze that file for me and they can write it. I can then copy it, put it in a Word document, and then enhance it with my own way of saying things. How would our organization say it? So the speed of what we get now, there's no comparison to the way it used to work to the way it works today. It is unbelievable. But it's even very quick when it comes to working with an Excel file. So let me go ahead and I'm going to upload from my OneDrive again. And I'm just going to do a search. And I'm just going to search for, I can't remember for sure what I called it now. I think I called it Copilot. So it's actually searching my OneDrive, my SharePoint, etc. And I want it to find, okay, here, I'll go ahead and use this. Oh, let me use this blog. So I'm going to take well, I should really use an Excel file. Let me show you an example of using an Excel file to analyze data with ChatGPT. Yes, it could do this before, but once again, it was extremely clumsy. It was very slow. And the response that we got wasn't as helpful as it is today. So it's already analyzed it. By the way, as soon as I attached it, it has analyzed it. I didn't show you the file prior to coming in, but just so you know, it has a bunch of orders in it. And if I wanted to give me a summarize, so I'm going to say summarize the information in this worksheet. Oh, oh, it's analyzing it. So first it's telling me unable to display visualization. Let me see how it comes back. So, okay, it is finding it. At first, it was probably saying, oh, I'm not real sure what it is. It could have been a slow connection or something. Oh, that particular workbook, I know why it was hesitating. I gave the wrong workbook. The workbook that I thought I was using only had one sheet. So this one, look how quick it was. It actually had 10 different sheets. It analyzed all 10 sheets in that 20 seconds. To me, that is absolutely fantastic that it can do that. It's giving me a couple of suggestions, by the way. So let me just jump down to the bottom here. It's actually asking, can you plot the sales data? Is that something? This is a suggested prompt based on what it just analyzed. And then it also is saying, show employee information in a summary. I'm going to say, can you plot the sales data? So there was actually a worksheet that had sales data. So after it first analyzes this, if I see, oh yeah, my company orders is in here, I could say on the company orders worksheet, do this. So I'll give you an example of how we could do that as well. But you can see that it will automatically come back. It went to the sales worksheet. So it's telling me that it went to the sales worksheet and it analyzed that data. So I'm going to come back and I'm going to say in the company orders worksheet, I'll wait till that's done here to send it. But in the company orders worksheet, who had the highest sales for the USA? So what it did with this first one was not only did it analyze that sales information in that workbook, but it also came back and gave me a chart based on the information that it found in that Q2 monthly sales. So it's unbelievable that it can do this, but what's even better is how quick it did it. It's pretty crazy. But of course, we can always copy this information and put it into Excel or do what, put it into a PowerPoint, a Word document, wherever it is that you need it. But I'm going to ask it another one. So in this company orders worksheet, who has the highest sales in the USA? So it can go and analyze, which is actually thousands of rows of information. It can go out and analyze that information super quick. Look at how quick that was for it to go out there and find what was the highest sales for the USA. In the company orders, it was Robert King had a total sales amounting to 2 million, etc. So it is unbelievable how quick it analyzes that data. So could I keep this as a temporary chat? I could have. I could have just done this as a temporary so that I don't have to have this as historical information. But the nice thing about it is when you have something that you've analyzed previously, like I had in the past 30 days, these were the orders for USA. Let me kind of start at the top and show you what I did with this one. It went out and analyzed the file that I had attached. And then I said how many orders were placed in the USA. It comes back and tells me how many orders were placed in the USA and then how many were for a salesperson called Janet. Janet had 215,000. Then I said to create a chart based on the country, Canada. So all orders from Canada where the salesperson was Janet. It is unbelievable how it can analyze that data. And as I said, this was thousands of rows of information that in about 10 seconds, it went out and did this. So it is so smart. And by the way, I could continue to say, well, could you change this to a column chart instead of a line chart? Could you have this just be for orders that were placed during this date range and this, from this date to this date? And it was based on products that start with the letter S. You can be asking it to do anything that you need it to do. It is so quick with this new version of 4.0 that I have been totally shocked. So Jason, if you're paying attention, you definitely need to go do some more chatting with that 4O so that you can see how that works. But let me go ahead and take this a little bit further. What I did with this one was asked it to give me a rundown of, the orders that she had placed for Canada. Then I said, create an image of Canada and the salesperson, Janet. So it created this image of Canada with that salesperson, Janet, that I could actually utilize within the presentation. But maybe I want it to be create an image based on the products that sold the most. That sold the most. That probably wasn't a very good way to write that prompt, but we'll see what it comes back with. So a lot of this is due to, the better your prompt, the better it's going to understand you. So first it's telling me that the top 5 products that sold are, and boy, it did that just like that. So would you like an illustration based on these top products? Yes. I'm going to tell it, yes, I want an image based on those products that were sold. So it will automatically generate an image. The image capability, which is what people are raving about the most when it comes to working in AI tools like ChatGPT. Isn't that amazing? Now, of course, if I wanted to change it in any way, I could have it change it. I could go back in and say, well, can you change this font color to be green, or change it to this font, or change the background to be whatever. We can always continue to enhance it. We can continue to regenerate whatever it is that we are asking. But I think with this newer version, I think people were kind of, when we first started with ChatGPT, they thought, oh, this is wonderful. This is such a great tool. But then we started to see, oh my goodness, why is it taking so long for it to do this? I could create a pivot table and get that information quicker. Now I don't. I can't create a pivot table quicker, because if I'm in a meeting and somebody asks a question, it's really going into ChatGPT that I'm asking it to, so that I don't take my focus away from, having to go analyze that data myself. I let ChatGPT do it. So ChatGPT is open on one side of my screen for me all the time, so that if somebody's asking a question about something and we have that already uploaded, we're just continuing that conversation. But I definitely use it for images as well, because a lot of times I need an image to go along with the information that it actually generated. So lots of enhancements. You definitely want to be coming in and using the 4.0 version. Forget about the rest of the versions, because this is going to be the latest and greatest, but have ChatGPT work more with you. With these enhancements, make sure you're going to the settings. Change the settings to match for you personally. And if you're going to be working with a group of people and want to take advantage of the features with ChatGPT, definitely use the team workspace feature. They have already enhanced it a little bit from its first release, but to me, it has been a no-brainer. I absolutely love it. It is a feature that I will continue to use for all the projects that I work with. Watch for the new upcoming enhancements and new features with the voice capabilities. Remember, you can be changing the voice itself. Right now, it's really only on the mobile device, but coming to your computer soon. There's a screenshot in your handout on page 12. You will see a microphone and a headset icons. That's when you'll know that you have it built into the online version. But I do have information about the team workspace in your handout as well. And at the end of the handout, you're going to find some information about the new version 5 that will be coming. I gave you some, what they're saying as of today. Of course, that's probably going to change as they progress with the new version, but it will have unbelievable enhancements from the demonstrations and stuff that I've been seeing. So they're saying November of 2024 when that will be released. So as of today, it's 4.0 is the one that you want to be taking advantage of. Okay. So Jason, let's jump back to you. Did we have anybody with any questions on ChatGPT today?
Yeah, just a quick, well, this is probably
Yes.
not a quick question, but how does Copilot compare to that GPT?
You know what? That's in your handout as well. Totally forgot to mention it. So on page 16 of your handout, it talks about ChatGPT versus Copilot. ChatGPT and Copilot are both from AI. They are both using the same models. The benefit of using Copilot is the fact that it is directly connected to your 365. So it analyzes everything within your domain of your Microsoft 365. So I go to Copilot and I can say, what are the emails? Summarize the emails for me that I missed in the last 3 days. I can have it take a conversation and say, summarize this conversation for me. Do this, do that. It does everything that is directly related within your Microsoft 365. ChatGPT only works with things that are from the internet, what it's trained to do. Yes, it can answer questions about Microsoft. As a matter of fact, I have it write my code for me. I don't do visual, I'm not a programmer, so I have it write my macros or my Visual Basic code for me and everything. So Copilot connected with Microsoft 365, ChatGPT is not directly. So any other questions?
With that, do you offer a training on Copilot?
Yes, we definitely do. And we are starting to kind of break them up by topic because there's so many things. So we used to do just a general, here's what Copilot is, but there's too many things. So now we're breaking it up in between Excel, Word, and PowerPoint. And here's what it does in Teams and Outlook so that we're kind of separating the apps. But Copilot is now available in other applications as well, not just your major Excel, Word, PowerPoint. It's also available in Forms, it's in OneNote, etc. All over. Okay. Super exciting.
I don't see any other questions at this point.
Okay.
So I guess I'll lead in. We did a Copilot training a few months ago, so we can check on that. So please check out, as you see, the TMP trainings that are listed here at the networkpro.net. Go to Learn IT and the TMP tab you can click on all the topics that we have covered. Amazing content. Again, more ChatGPT, Outlook, you name it, SharePoint. There's about everything in there. So a lot of great information. So here's our contact info. Kevin Studley is our Director of Regional Sales. Adriana Williams is our Director of Technical Account Management in Arizona. These webinars are done free of charge because we believe this is valuable information to you and one of the pieces that helps us accomplish our mission. So if you found this webinar valuable, please share this with a friend or another company. And to be sure that you don't miss on any further trainings we have, please scan the QR code that's on the screen to be included in our invite list for upcoming technology training. So as usual, these webinars are great. Thank you, JoLynn. It's always informative.
Absolutely.
Yes, you are correct. I will go and check some more ChatGPT. I'm
Good.
just trying to experiment with this stuff. So it's completely amazing. It's just always something new. So thank you for your time. Have a great week,
Absolutely.
everyone. We will see you next month.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.